Hello, everybody, and welcome to Moonhawk Studios Presents Season 19. I am your host, Mac Paladin, and we are alive and functional, barely.
I'm about to say debatable.
With me in the studio is my zany crew of compadres, starting with Adam.
I am not zany. You know this.
Kevin's in the house.
To pay tribute to the former preschool retail chain, I am Zany Brainy.
Patty fans on technicals.
Does anybody know a good plague doctor?
Oh my god.
Well,
I don't have my mask.
I mean, it is apt, though.
Yeah.
I don't have any N95s.
My mask and hat are in storage.
Anyway.
And of course we have Golix.
Well, we got pre-roll ads this time. Also, I reject categorization into zany or non-zany.
Okie dokie. Allegedly, we have a great show for you tonight, but before we get into the nuts and bolts of it all, Adam, start us off with the news.
And the news is probably, for most people, are going to be what they did for Thanksgiving. And, it was a pretty typical Thanksgiving in that had the fam over, turkey dinner, the whole cranberry yards here. It was a good time. Christmas preparations have been enacted in that the Christmas decorations are up. In particular, the tree. The kids had fun decorating that. That's about what happened on my break. That was notable and newsworthy. Kevin, what about you?
Because I work at a certain institution that is open on Thanksgiving, it kind of interfered with me going to my usual family get-together, so I basically cooked my own personal Thanksgiving dinner with a 3-pound boneless turkey, some mashed potatoes, some stuffing, and some turkey gravy, and basically I need plus some Red Lobster cheddar bay biscuits. So,
oh boy,
I pretty much had my own personal Thanksgiving dinner, so I was good to go on that. Other than that, pretty quiet around here as per usual. We have our Christmas decorations out front, getting ready for the holidays around here. So, and of course, work is busy, and that's all I'll say about that. And with that all that's going on my end, Petty, what's happening in your world? Although I think it's pretty clear what's happening in your world.
I got the plague. Yeah, after 4 years of dodging COVID, it got me.
Oh no.
This Saturday after the season finale of Fragments, I decided to go to a Digimon tournament, just a small local one. And then the following Tuesday, I started feeling bad. I was like, oh, I got a head cold. That's fine. And no, it was not just a head cold. Turns out I got COVID.
Oh boy. And so what started out as harmless tabletop fun turned into a super spreader event.
Basically. So yeah, that was fun. And by fun, I mean I have basically been in what could best be described as a fugue state since Sunday.
Jesus Christ.
I don't think I could tell you what I did for Thanksgiving, even if I had it written down. My brain has been shot. I was I think most of what I've been doing all break has just been kind of YouTube videos here at my desk. Because I haven't had the energy to even like play much in the way of gaming. So yeah, COVID fucked me up bad. And yeah. As far as like other things that happened, like while MSP was on break, I have upgraded my headset. If you can tell by I know my voice sounds different-er than normal, but it's going to sound better hopefully in the next couple weeks. But yeah, I now have a Razer Black Shark V2 headset.
Oh.
So I've been told the audio quality is better. Though again, it's going to be hard to know right now. We had to take Luna to the vet a couple days ago because turns out she broke a tooth. 2 teeth in fact. She had not been eating for a few days, and we thought, oh, it's something wrong with her thyroid. She has hyperthyroidism.
Okay.
And thought, oh, she just needs a meds adjusted. And like, nope, she broke tooth. She was down to 6 pounds.
Oh boy.
Yeah, she's 15, so being down that low is bad. That is very bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was actively refusing food, so we didn't know if, oh no, what's wrong with Kitty? Turns out Kitty just needed her 2 teeth fixed. She's still not eating a whole lot right now, but that's probably because her jaw probably hurts. Because dental surgery. So yeah, hopefully she is more normal, going forward and starts eating more.
Right.
We have gotten her more wet food because she can eat wet food. So at least we're giving her some calories. And we can worry about getting her to eat dry food later. I think I'm just about done with Christmas shopping. I think I need to get one smaller thing for my father. And that's about it. So that's kind of fun. And yeah, other than that, just been kind of realizing that getting sick sucks. Shocker, I know. And I guess next victim.
Alex?
My Thanksgiving went well. My sister and her boyfriend and their baby were up, so I got to meet the baby, although she's only 3 months old, so still mostly just locked in the eat, poop, and sleep loop. But still, I got to hold her some, and I did some singing to the baby, and it was nice to see them and to finally get a chance to meet her. And my cousin also came up, and had a good time with them too. Let's see, video game wise, I downloaded the demos for the 2 new Inti Creates games, relatively new, over the break and played those, and I liked them well enough that I decided to buy them, although since then I haven't been able to really play much, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but oh well. Otherwise, I think it's mostly been pretty low key. It's cold. On the other hand, while I'm not done with Christmas shopping because I did not do a great job with my ETO this year, I get to take 4-day weekends for like most of the month, so that's nice. I think that's about all I got.
Okay. Well, y'all know me. I am in an endless cycle of working to be 5 steps behind.
You sound like my brother.
Yeah, I was out for like 8-9 hours yesterday, and I worked myself to the point of sleepiness, and still am nowhere near. I couldn't pass up a sale on a dryer, considering the fact that because of my strange hours, I do not have access to the complex washer and dryer. And thank God I have a massive wardrobe, but it's getting kind of rank.
Yeah.
When I went to San Diego back in September, Nathan gave me a under dryer 2.5 cubic foot washing machine. It's a little thing that I could put inside. I have a portable washer that I bought off a thrift store. It's a GE Spacemaker 2 that I bought off of, it's a $750 portable washer, but I bought it off of the Salvation Army for $75, which was a hell of a deal. 10% of its original sticker price. But it's starting to not really clean the clothes.
Huh.
So, and it's sad, and it was a nice one. It's a 4.5 cubic foot washer, which is not bad for a quote unquote portable. What makes it portable is the stand that it rests on. It has wheels. Otherwise, it's kind of a regular washing machine. But yeah, I haven't really been able to wash clothes for quite some time because that's just not working anymore. It's been out on the patio for years now, and I think the elements have just gotten to it. It probably could stand to have a professional cleaning. Although, from what I've read, plumbers tend to say things like, we laugh at people when they ask us to come over and clean their washing machine. Cleaning your washing machine is so easy. And it's like, well, then if it's so fucking easy, then snap to it. Stop being so critical and take my money. So, yeah. So Nathan gave me this basically $900 LG mini washer that goes underneath the dryer for small spaces. And I was over at Goodwill looking for basically a small bookshelf to mount my Pac-Man arcade art project on top of, because the stand that I created for it is just not going to work. And so I was looking for a square, either crate-based or something bookshelf. I happened to notice that they had a washer and dryer set over there, a Samsung, that is similarly colored to, and this was like a $900 washer, that is similarly colored to the little LG one, that little LG washing machine that Nathan gave me. So I was like, well, that solves that, because I was looking at washing machines and dryers over at Lowe's for like $650 and up. Now, there are some logistical things I have to do. I have to get a 50 amp splitter and then change out the power cord on the back of this dryer, because it's a 240 volt dryer, as is pretty typical for dryers outside of the portable variety, because we used to have this Hayer one that was 1.5 cubic, which did about half a load of socks. And then it burned out about a year and a half ago, and was just putting cold air through it, not drying the clothes at all. I bought it as a set with that GE washing machine. So yeah, so I had to haul this thing. Here's the real story. I had to haul this thing all the way back from the Goodwill thrift store, 2 long blocks from my apartment, all the way back to the apartment on a dolly lift with deflated rubberized tires. Because
that seems to be a common problem with dollies.
Yeah, I really need to get an appliance dolly that has, because I do have a lot of stuff that I need to move around. not the least of which is a rear projection TV I need to get rid of. This was a 900-pound dolly that I bought back when Jamie and I were still together in Mobile, Alabama at Sam's Club for $79. It's a 900-pound capacity dolly lift. Now, apparently, when we broke up, she took it upon herself to replace the tires. And I was like, that's great. And how much did you spend on that, honey? And she's like, oh, I spent $79 on it. Awesome. That's exactly what I spent for the whole dolly. So apparently replacement tires on those things are a racket. This little journey utterly destroyed the rubber tires. They are now completely shredded. So I've had this thing for 13 years now. I've gotten my mileage out of it. It needed one last hurrah, and that was walking 2 blocks with a 150-pound dryer on top of it. I got the hauling ropes and I tied it. It was very secure. I had no problems with mobility whatsoever, and I was moving at a good clip. I got back in like 15 minutes. So overall, not bad. And then when I got here, it was the maintenance guy at our complex just happened to be walking by my staircase, and I said, "Hey, Hector, can you give me a hand with this real quick? I just need you to help me get it to the base of the stairs. I can get it in the apartment." And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure." He helped me out, and I got this thing in there. The only 240 line I have for power is the one behind the range, and that one is a 50 amp, and most dryers are 30 amps. So they have a different configuration on the plug, but they are interchangeable, and that is the lowest cost option for me. I just need to get a splitter so I can have the stove and the dryer plugged in at the same time. And according to every source I've read online, you can change it out for a 50 amp compatible power cord, and it will not damage the machine because 50 amps is the capacity of the breaker. It's not like a forced pipeline of power to the device.
Just don't try and use both of them together.
Yeah, that would be bad.
That would be fire starting bad.
To put it mildly. So yeah, I have to get a 50 amp splitter, which they sell stuff like this on Amazon and at like Harbor Freight and whatever, which I have one within walking distance. Possibly Target, possibly Home Depot. I'm not thrilled by that prospect because you know who they donate to. But Lowe's did not have it. To my eternal chagrin. And yeah, so I finally now have a washer and dryer. I just need to finish hooking everything up. I have the filtered exhaust box. I actually bought something off of Temu with my $50 credit that allows you to use a dryer that does not have an external duct. So for like apartment living and stuff like that, it has a hose, and then it has a capture box with a filter, a scented filter. It's a very nice one, actually, at the end of it. So that way I can run the dryer inside the apartment. The only thing I have to worry about then is the heat. So I will probably be turning off the air conditioner while I am running the dryer to my eternal suffering. But I won't have to use it that many times, and it's a full size dryer too. So I have actually set it up so it looks aesthetically appealing in my apartment, and I'm pretty happy. So that's that. Now show related. This is the big thing, but will not take a long time to explain. Prevarication notwithstanding, the arcade room is basically complete. I did mention that I had to get a piece. I will be assembling some parts to allow my Pac-Man 12-in-1 machine to be freestanding. So that way I no longer have to have it leaning against a wall or physically mounted to a wall. And then I think I'll be ready for Arcade Anarchy. I now have a Mortal Kombat 2 Deluxe 14-in-1 machine, courtesy of Best Buy. I have a Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition arcade 1-up replica. I have my Vizco Arcade 8-in-1 hooked up to a 28-inch TV. My Dell Dimension 4100 survived, so I have every Neo Geo game ever made installed on that old Pentium 3 with the Voodoo 3DFX graphics card. And I have that hooked up with a monitor. I have a Windows 10 based computer in the closet running a Xeon processor. And I got my Centipede and my Asteroid 4-in-1 and 8-in-1 door hanger machines, courtesy of Arcade 1-Up as well, on my right and left, respectively. So everything's set. It's only a matter of me getting both the gumption and the time to add that stream to our repertoire. And the only other thing show-related that I should probably mention is that Golix and I are currently negotiating the finer points of when we can resume making moves, so we can complete Langrisser and move on to our next endeavor. I thought I had some modifiers to go with that, but I thought better of it. So I think that's pretty much it. So poke our guests, because I'm about to announce them.
All right. Looks like they're being poked.
All right. All right. So assuming that they're listening, our guests tonight are Anthony and Popejoy. Woo!
Ah, to the
How's it
radio now,
going?
guys.
How's it going?
Woohoo! Anthony and Noah Popejoy of Skylar Rocks, and Adam, just say the name of the other thing.
It's called Deinochi. I'll help you with that.
Thank you. Welcome to the show. Tell us about your endeavors. What are they about? What do you guys do?
I think Noah still needs to unmute himself or undeafen himself. But to go into my series, Rocks. So Skylar Rocks is basically a series where a 15-year-old girl who's finally joining her friend's band by getting her first guitar. But the guitar she gets is more than what she bargains for, as it's a ancient sentient weapon that has several abilities and powers to fight evil, essentially. And that's its main purpose, is to fight evil. So now Skylar must learn to balance her hero life along with her new rock life, and it basically becomes like a whole think of it as like a cross between Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur and Haley's on It. That's probably the best way I can describe it.
Nice.
All right. And we'll talk about Deinochi here in a second, but I'll let Noah talk about his series.
Which one?
That is up to you, man.
I guess we'll talk about the one that I'm really focused on right now. It's Secret Spy Academy. It's basically about a group of 4 girls who enroll in a high school called Flemingway High School, and that high school happens to double as an academy for spies, for teenagers with promising espionage abilities, and they happen to have those abilities they search for. So it's basically about them trying to juggle school life and normal life and everything, and the lives of spies all at once. There is kind of an overarching story that goes into it later on, but right now it's mostly episodic, very much inspired by Kim Possible and Totally Spies.
Nice.
I guess I should have mentioned my inspirations too. my inspirations for a series. Well, my main inspiration was specifically Luna Loud from The Loud House, as Nika Futterman voicing the character is like she's very passionate. Her singing voice is really great about it. She's my headcanon voice. I hope to get her one day, but other inspirations are stuff like DC Supergirls, because I was a big fan of that show when it came out. Batman obviously is another inspiration. Stuff like The Incredibles, like as another superhero genre, that was like a real inspiration, just because a lot of the lore behind in those film franchise is actually what's helping develop the series as well. And then other stuff mainly just like for background art, for example, like I'm trying to stick with the comic book kind of theme, even though that's kind of not like the big major part of the series, even though it is a superhero series. I still want to have like that feel that you are in the feel of a comic book side area. But yeah, mainly just like those like series I mentioned, like those are like the main things that brought the life to Skylar Rocks and everything like that. And you know, I've really been excuse me, I've been really trying to really make the series happen, especially like in the last few months. So and I think it's probably now best to time mention about Danakara, but what's funny is that Noah is actually what kind of helped me get into making an indie projects in the first place, because it was a collab series that he wanted to do. Mainly for the fact that I think it was right around when Owl House ended, was it?
I think so.
Yeah, it was around that time, because the idea that he brought up was, what if we did Owl House or Amphibia with dinosaurs? And I was just immediately hooked, because dinosaurs have always been like a big thing when I was growing up as a kid. So for me, I was like, hell yeah, I'll do it. And then, well, here we are with that series.
I wouldn't say you were hooked immediately. It took you some time, but now I think you're a little more passionate about the project than I am. Though I am passionate about it.
You are probably right on that, actually. But
you did kind of doctor it a little bit with the original. I think the original story I pitched to you was, oh, these girls are transported to a world where dinosaurs are still alive, roaming the world, and they have to like survive, and because the dinosaurs are still the enemy. But that has since changed. That's evolved quite a bit.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, no, I'm remembering that. But to kind of throw a bit of what the concept of the series is. So, like Owl House and Amphibia, we have 5 girls named Izzy, Luna, Braylin, Chloe, and Renee, who are all get transported without any memory of what happened exactly to a world full of sapient dinosaurs. And let me first explain what I mean by sapient dinosaurs. These guys aren't like humanoid-looking dinosaurs. They look like dinosaurs you would see like in Jurassic Park or like any documentary or something like that. And they still look like them, but they are smart. They're able to construct things. They're able to talk and all that. So, but this planet that they go to, essentially,
Wait, can talk or can't talk?
They can't talk. So they speak English and all that.
Okay. The comparison point that was going on in my head is Dinotopia, where the dinosaurs are generally sapient, but very few of them can actually speak English. Due to like vocal tract structure reasons.
I did think about that a couple times when when making the series. I never brought up the series to Noah, mainly just because like I knew he wouldn't probably have known the series whatsoever. But yeah, Dinotopia is definitely something that I've thrown a few inspirations, mainly like for idea that I can't really reveal yet, but it does have some kind of background ideas that we're going to be using at some point. But yeah, no, yeah. So this series essentially is about the girls going to that world. They meet a family of Saur sapiens. They meet 2 full-grown T-Rexes named Amber and Jaeger, their husband and wife. They have a son named Dusty, who's their biological son, and he does have siblings, but they are all adopted. we have Val, who is a velociraptor. Miko, a young female Parasaurolophus. If you don't know what that is, the big one with the crest on the head. Like, you probably don't know. Then we have Atticus, who is I guess you could say is the edgelord of our series, because we've made him very edgy over the years. And then we have Trice, who is like the young, playful one of the family, essentially. Actually, I could probably show you a couple of the concepts to give you an idea of what they look like. But Noah, why don't you take over a second for more ideas of the series and while I show them these?
So, as Anthony is much more the person who is passionate about dinosaurs, I usually end up writing stuff about like humans, because there is like the human aspect of everything with they're human girls, they come from the human world. So I kind of mostly use ideas around that, like why they are there. It does go into spoiler territory, but it is kind of where I work. It's kind of what relation Dinokira or Dinokira. I don't know.
Dinokara.
Dinokira.
We had a big argument about this a while back, actually, about how.
That's like he pitched to me the idea for the name, and I was like, "Oh, cool, Dinokira. That's cool." And he was like, "Dinokira," and I was like, "Oh boy, this is weird."
We had a lot of compromise.
I assume it's the reference to the big old giant claw arms dinosaur.
Dinokairos. Yeah, actually,
But then also.
It's actually a bit of a funny story behind that as well. Sorry to interrupt you, by the way. So when arguing about the name about that, I actually did make up like that being Dinokairos as just to win the argument, but realistically, I just thought the name was just funny to show. Also, here are the characters I'm seeing right now, but yeah, no, more or less, even though that is a creature that has a similar thing to it, it does not have any influence to the name whatsoever.
Huh. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I'll
Also,
get these set up for chat to see them in a moment. Let me get them all open.
One of the big things about the show, at least what we want to do in season 2, is kind of explore different cultures around the world through Dinokira.
Yeah, like we can't explain much because there's some spoiler territory that we can't reveal yet. But we plan to show a big variety of what it's like outside of what takes place in season 1. And what's a big factor about that is that the characters Amber and Jaeger, who are the adults of the group, they've never been outside or far outside the walls of their city, which is what we call Tirana City for the record. They've only known like snippets of like what's outside the walls, really, and they really don't understand. They really didn't know what to expect out there. So for them, it's especially going in blind for them, even though they're trying to have to take care of their kids and the girls as well.
All right, for anybody in chat, I do have the images put up, so you can see them on stream.
Let me also grab you the girls' pictures as well.
All right. See, that's one of the fun things about a video format is I can do this stuff now.
That's pretty cool.
You laugh. We used to be purely audio only and couldn't do any of this cool stuff back in the day.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
One of the ideas I had was like, oh, what if you made like, when I like pitched the show to Anthony, I was like, what if you made like 1 or 2 characters and I made 1 or 2 characters? That's kind of how these girls came to be. I made, like, we both kind of worked on specific characters. I made Braylin, black girl in the blue shirt, and Renee, the girl who looks like Sasha from Amphibia.
I remember when I saw the first concept for her, and I was like, that looks like Sasha. I mean, nowadays I kind of see her as a different character, but
because she is so
But-
different from Sasha, and I think that comes through in the way she's drawn.
But I'm one to talk as well because I can say that when I was making Luna and Chloe, Luna is the girl with the blue shorts and the lesbian flag in her hair, and Chloe is the one with the beret and the pink shirt. I did heavily inspire Luna off of Bria from the Owl House. If you don't remember who she was like that one girl Gus got to meet. About her coven and all that. I don't remember the exact synopsis of that episode, mainly just because I mainly remember the Lumity bits from that one. But her design was a big inspiration for Luna here, and I really liked it, especially Chloe. Though I think I just kind of went creative with that one because I was thinking to myself, I wanted Luna to be a lesbian specifically, and then having Chloe, who's essentially her best friend, but Luna has it's not gonna be a spoiler because it's gonna be kind of obvious at some point. Luna does have a crush on Chloe, and that's gonna be like a whole major side plot throughout the series that you'll see kind of develop as they start coming. Luna is always being like that quirky girl who's always that she has a crush on this character. It's I'm trying to think of an example of those character stereotypes.
Amity from the Owl House.
Yeah, or Spike from My Little Pony, where he's always crushing on Rarity.
Or Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, and then Izzy here, I think was definitely something that we I think I pitched you about this. We basically just collabed on the idea of making a singular character that we both have control on, essentially.
Yeah, it was very we both kind of did different aspects of the design, and I think she came out really well.
Oh yeah.
We could go over who's voicing who, and who we hope will voice who.
Yeah. So so currently, who we hope to get for each character. Well, right now, Noah has one character who is already perfectly casted, which is Berlin. Shakira Dunn will be voicing her throughout both the pilot and the pilot and the main series. So that's gonna be really cool. The casting that we're hoping to get for Luna here is Kari Wahlgren, who's my favorite voice actress of all time, essentially.
And just recently, we did do a video call with her for Secret Spy Academy.
Yeah, we'll get more of that in a second because I do want to talk about that. I do want you to talk about that.
That is so it's totally on the plate now. It's totally.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's what makes this Joker here too. So I appreciate that. But for Chloe, which actually I think I forgot to mention, Chloe's character is essentially the autistic one of the group because I am autistic, and she's a character I'm very passionate of writing to being this, essentially the smart one of the group with her ideas of being reasonable, being tolerant with everyone, trying to keep everyone calm and all that. She's the sweet one of the group.
And Renee would basically be, I don't know how many people have seen The Loud House, but she is kind of like Lenny Loud from The Loud House, very airheaded.
The airheaded of the group.
But I would really the only voice I can hear coming out of her is Kamiko Glenn from Has Been Hotel and all those other really good shows. Kif,
I think you. Yeah, I remember you changed her ethnicity as well because you had her starting out being Thai, but then you had her being Japanese because you You tried
Her
contacting
ethnicity-
Ashley Birch at first to voice her, but then
Yeah, her ethnicity.
you
was
tell him
going
on it.
her ethnicity was going to change depending on who was voicing her, but she was going to be of Asian descent no matter what. Whether it was Thai, Chinese, Japanese, it really depended on who was going to voice her, on who is going to voice her. So right now, I'm hoping it's going to be Japanese, but that might change later down the line depending on what happens when the series is being recorded.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we get Kimiko going because from Has Been Told, she was really funny as voicing Nifty. But
I mean, I still only know her as Izzy Moonbow.
yeah, that is fair. Well, that's not true. You know her from the Ninth Jedi as well, so. But oh yeah, and then Chloe's voice actress I'm hoping to get is Alison Stoner, who you might know as Isabella from Phineas and Ferb. Just because she has that really sweet voice that makes me think like she'd be perfect for Chloe. But Izzy's voice that we hope to get is for is Montesi Hernandez, who is kind of under the radar with a lot of performances. Like I think the only one you would probably know her as is Gwen from the recent Ben 10 reboot that they did. As she did voice her in that. But I primarily knew her as June Del Toro from Netflix's series The Last Kids on Earth, which I want to mention is a highly underrated show, and I'm still pissed that show got canceled by Netflix. So we all know that. We all know that feel.
Shows on Netflix.
Yeah, it definitely ended up being one of the shows to suffer the fate.
Yeah, I'm like really. I'm angry at Netflix for canceling a lot of shows. There's one I know that was in development from Lauren Faust, the creator of My Little Pony and DC Superhero Girls.
I mean, she's in particularly cursed. She's on a few projects shit canned, and not just by Netflix.
No, I know she's been through a lot. Like she ended up leaving after two seasons MLP, and then when she developed DC Superhero Girls, she left after season 1 because everyone, I guess, behind the scenes were just treat her like literal crap. I'm not even kidding. Like that's the way I view it, and
it's like for someone who created a show that essentially became a worldwide phenomenon in My Little Pony, she sure isn't treated well in the industry.
I mean,
it's a common problem with voice actors, unfortunately.
Well, it's on. We're not talking about voice actors. We're talking about the creator, Lauren Faust.
Oh, well, okay, yeah, that too.
Well, yeah, it's like women creative types in the animation industry. Face a lot. Let's say.
Yeah, I mean, I hope for the best for her. I hope that she can either get the rights to that show back so she can pitch it somewhere else, or if she develops something else at least. Because let's be honest here, she deserves better. She really deserves better.
She has the rights to the show, but just not that specific. But not those specific character designs. So she can still pitch it somewhere else, but it just won't be. It won't be under the same art direction. Most likely, the characters will likely look different.
Okay, that makes sense.
That would be unsettling.
But that show definitely. But yeah, I think we got a lot of topic there. But yeah, Montesi Hernandez, she's a great voice actress from The Last Kids on Earth, especially with her Mexican ethnicity, which is what Izzy's ethnicity is, and we really hope that we can reach out to her. Noah says that it's a possibility, but I'm not gonna have high hopes just because I know how indie animation can be with budgets and stuff like that. So here's hoping. But going to like the sorry.
Here is the thing. Her agent shares an agent. Her agent is the same agent as Haley Ju from who I'm currently in touch with to voice a character for my other show. So I think it's very possible. And if we get a casting director like I have on Secret Spy Academy, I think it will influence her answer. Like, oh, I recognize this person. Yeah, sure. This seems fun.
Okay, well,
Okay.
that makes sense. But
Okay. I am going to interrupt the narrative here just for a second here because we're kind of casting all over the place, and I do want to get some structure because there's a lot of industry information that's being thrown in here that is not common knowledge. So what I'm going to do at this moment here is I'm going to redirect and have Adam do a little more structured questioning here.
okay,
So
that's perfectly fine.
I'd like to do that because we're losing control of the.
Yeah, that's our fault.
I'm having trouble following you guys, and I want to make sure that you guys are able to get your due here as far as the nuts and bolts of this, because I do animation too, and I have worked with quite a lot of luminaries, and I will be interjecting periodically, but I want to get this on track a little bit. So Adam, if you would please, let's do a more formal interview here.
Okay.
That's fine. That's fine. But yeah, so it seems like you've got 3 major programs between the 2 of you here.
Oh no, I got 2 because this Deinochi and Skylar Rocks, he's got like 5 under his belt. I'm not even kidding you.
Okay.
Some are more focused than others.
All right. So you basically you have a lot of animation projects in various stages of development. It's probably a good idea to get a sense of why you're steeping so heavily here. You know, like what made you interested in getting into making animated cartoons and such.
No, I'll let you go first because you knew this way before I did.
Oh, I have always been drawn to anime, so it's I watched Phineas and Ferb. I would say that's the show that kind of helped push me in the direction of loving animation, and then just kept going with stuff like Gravity Falls, The Owl House, Amphibia, Star versus the Forces of Evil, Lego Ninjago. I just watched all these animated shows, and I just loved seeing these stories develop on screen. And then I would say what really pushed me to want to try to make my own indie cartoon was in 2019 when the Has-Been Hotel pilot was released. I think that was the pushing point for a lot of people, but yeah, it was. So it might sound like a broken record, but it was a pushing point for me. I was like, I want to make a cartoon. So I had a few ideas, and then finally I settled on one, and it was Deinochi, right? If I'm recalling correctly, and I just pitched it to Anthony, and that's kind of the end of the story.
And then I didn't know much about indie animation until 2 years ago, I think, around that time. At first, when he was telling me about it, I won't lie, I thought it was like an animation studio set in India. I don't know why I thought that, but India. But for me though, when I got to start seeing all this stuff, some of the first ones I got to watch around was probably I think Hell of a Boss was definitely the first one that I actually started really getting into indie animation, and I started watching that show a little over a year ago already, and I remember specifically like that show getting me more enticed to making my own series too, especially or getting Dainakara, especially like Up in the Air, and then seeing like all these people push boundaries with that, and then seeing like other indie anime pilots like Lackadaisy, The Amazing Digital Circus, Ramshackles, and all that. It's really crazy to see that this has become such a big phenomenon. And I think I know who like my main inspiration for writing was Vivian Medrano, who does Hazbin Hotel and hell of a boss.
Bibsy Pop.
She is literally, I think recently has made me cry on several occasions in recent episodes. And
Yes.
I think the latest episode, the recent episode especially, I'm not going to go into spoiler territory just because I'm not sure how many people watched it, but God. But kind of going further back of what animation has done for me growing up, it's definitely had a big influence in my life. For starters, I think like the very first animated movie I ever watched was the original Ice Age, like the very first one from 2002, which should mention that they're getting another one in like 2 years from now. But yeah, no, that definitely was something that I was always very hooked on for, and you know, it's also one of the reasons why it probably hooked me onto like dinosaurs and stuff like that, because prehistoric animals. But apart from that, like I grew up with watching other stuff, like you know, I started watching SpongeBob, I watched Dora the Explorer, and then you know, obviously the kids stuff. But then when I got older, I started moving on to stuff like Phineas and Ferb. I saw a couple Spider-Man cartoons. I wasn't really hooked onto those around that still, though, just because they weren't really my thing. When I got older, though, like I think around my teen years is when I started branching out to other media, like for example, DreamWorks shows, DreamWorks movies. For example, my favorite DreamWorks film is How to Train Your Dragon. Like that is by far my favorite anime film, I would probably say, in history. And then watching stuff like Owl House, Amphibia, like watching all these like amazing things develop like after so many years, and seeing like how animation's always been a thing for like long periods of time, kind of giving the opportunity from Noah here to do it. Like I was a little skeptical on it at first, but I'm glad that I took the opportunity because he's helped me see a lot of stuff. He's helped me grow to build this kind of be part of this community and everything like that. Something where I feel like I'm in place with what I'm passionate about, which is writing for shows and such like that. Like even before I started even doing Skylar Rocks or Danakara, I had my own channel for a bit, which I did do for a few years, and I still do it, but I deprioritize it mainly to put more money and focus towards like Skylar Rocks. But Skylar Rocks is more of a recent series that I've developed mainly just because I wanted to do something that was more independent, that I didn't have to always go to Noah to ask questions about, ask like if this is cool to do and all that. And yeah, and I think I remember coming up with the concept with it too, especially like I remember that I just thought of something, the most random thing, and it wasn't from a show that really inspired the idea for Skylar's name actually. I was watching the show, the Disney sitcom Good Luck Charlie, and there was this one girl named Skylar who had like a really good singing voice, and then I thought to myself, that's a really good name, by the way, Skylar. So then I just got to thinking of like Nika Futterman from The Loud House, and then I just thought like, you know, maybe I just started thinking of ideas like that, and then I told Noah the next day, and then he ended up liking it a lot, and then from then on, I just started kind of develop more and more. I've been getting new character designs. I've been getting animation crew. I'm about to actually close a casting call tomorrow for animators and such like that. And well, that's something I'm really glad to see that there's people invested in the series, especially like on my I think on my first indie animation day when I shared a full animation, which was just a lip sync test. That post blew up that entire day essentially. Like I think it got like 800 something views.
I'm pretty sure you surpassed me in followers that day, that very same day.
Yeah, I felt so bad for a series, especially, but
Okay,
but,
so
yeah.
So that brings up an interesting question. Since once again I'm the animator here, so as far as our studio is concerned, how far into production are you? Like obviously you're past the talking about it phase.
Okay, so
what stage are you in? How are you doing financing? That's your question and follow up.
okay, so Danakara is deep into production right now. Like we are currently we're currently working on mini promos, which is like little shorts you're gonna see of introducing the characters, introducing they're like introducing basically what to see of the series.
So video sides of the characters.
Yeah, think of them as like mini pilots towards series and everything like that. And then once those are all out and everything like that, we're gonna launch a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe or whatever kind of campaign to get the funds for the pilots.
Mhm.
And we're gonna unionize. We're gonna get the cast we want, and such like that. And
Well, we're going to try to anyway.
Well, it depends because there may be advantages to remaining FI-core. In my case, I'm micro budget, so as a result, I can have both union and non-union actors on the production with no guff from the SAG.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're aiming for, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's what
Okay.
I've been doing with Secret Spy Academy. So that's what I plan on doing here with Anthony. I'm kind of the person who handles a lot of that side of things.
yeah, and I actually do appreciate that he helps me also understand. So if I ever were to do this for Skylar Rocks, then that would help me understand a lot more and such like that. But
Right.
but kind of going back into how production is a little bit. So right now the financing is self-funded between Noah and I. We get about $20 a month from our Patreon, which we put into savings, and then we end up using to pay any animator, voice actor, and such like that.
Right.
And if we get additional help, like from any Ko-fi sponsor, or if say someone wants to reach out to sponsor their product, that's never happened yet, but we hope so. But if that were to happen, then we would put that towards Danakara. In Sky Rocks' case, right now it's still in very early stages of the script writing of the pilot. And I would say I probably got the first 4 or 5 minutes already made, but I still am trying to get animators for standby, just so I can kind of have a cast ready for when the script's done, when it's finalized, and we can get to work right away, essentially. But in terms of financing, it's the same situation with Danakara. It's all self-funded, and with having to kind of split the funds, it's very minimalistic of how much I have to put towards each series, essentially. It also depends on more what's being pushed in production further right now. So right now, a lot of it is going towards Danakara, and the Skylar X cast right now is going to be put on standby, but I will be informing them of updates of the script and all that. If any kind of animation comes up, like for, say, a promo, I'll probably have a small crew work on some of those and everything like that. But yeah, that's best I can say for Skylar Rocks and Danakara, but I don't know how Noah's series is with financing and production.
Okay.
So Secret Spy Academy is obviously expensive to produce because it is under a union contract. But progress is going really well. Like I said a few weeks ago, I just recorded with Kari Walgren, my one of my voice actresses, and she was directed by the incredibly talented Brooke Chalmers. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly.
I call him Chalmers.
Chalmers. I was thinking, is this H silent? I'll have to ask him that. I'm sure he said it, but it's just, I'm sure it just went in one ear and out the other, because that's how my autistic brain works. But I'm getting I have a finished script for the pilot. I am trying to get visual development done, and I'm also getting into another voice call with a voice actress named Jackie Lastra, another voice actress, to direct the session. And it's it's going about as well as it can, especially considering how much I am pulling out of my own pocket to pay for this. But it is. I'm lucky to have parents who help me, who basically do pay my rent for me. Because, like, not sure how
Lucky.
easy.
Lucky.
Yeah, lucky until I need to go. I need to start doing it on my own.
Yeah.
But it makes me feel very grateful that they're so supportive. I'm trying to get in touch with a few visual development artists right now because my plan is I'm gonna get a scene fully animated and then put it out on YouTube, and that'll be kind of like, hey, this is the quality of the animation you should expect, and I'll launch an Indiegogo afterwards, so that way I can kind of keep whatever money I raise and keep just trying to crowdfund through Patreon if I don't meet my goal.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the basic timeline I would have. And I can send. These are the main characters I'm about to send over for the show. 4 main characters.
Yeah, I sent my characters too. Just laying out.
Okay. So it sounds like you guys have gone pretty deep into this. If you look at my own work, Starship Moonhawk, I've actually had the opportunity. I've opted for self-direction, whereas I am the director of animation, photography, whatever you want to call it, and casting and such. I've had the good fortune to be able to work with industry legends like Richard Epcar and Chris Patton.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And some up and comers like Inaris Quinones and
Inaris Quinones?
Quinones, yes.
Quinones, okay.
Yep.
Never heard of her.
She gained fame by playing Mirko on
yes.
My Hero Academia. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
She was also in Ruby, and I think she got I think there might have been some fan films using that one of the newer characters from Pokemon. Narissa, I think.
Oh, are we talking about Inaris Quinones now, or
what's that now?
Are we talking about Inaris now, or?
Yeah. So, I've had a lot of I've had a lot of experience with that. I've also worked with like Carrie Means on a pilot who was the Master Frylock of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and
it's really funny because the main villain of my pilot, I want to be Dana Snyder, the voice of Master Shake from that show.
Yeah, I remember him telling me this. Oh my god.
Yeah,
but
it's
really
been hard because No, go.
It's really funny how and I know Inaris Quinones for this very obscure well, I guess it's not obscure, she does have quite a following. It's more of a niche subject. It's a Minecraft roleplay called My Street. Before she became really big, she was a voice in that show. And ironically, the person who created that show was one of the people who did inspire me to just become a writer in general. Before indie animation, I was wanting to do Minecraft role plays, which I don't know if anyone knows what those are, but
I
sounds
kind of
like something
do.
my niece nephews would be into.
Yeah, I think I tried doing that at one point as well. with someone I used to work with, but it just never kicked off, mainly just because it was too difficult for me to understand, and frankly, I honestly didn't think it was worth to make a whole world, set up all that, and then it just because I feel like I had a lot of stuff going at the time, and that was mainly just because I did not want to put effort into something that I probably just wasn't going to go fully commit to, essentially. So yeah, that's I know where Noah was going from, but I essentially just I had the idea, but then I just never went through with it.
I mean, we do all have our inspirations. I'm sure. I know you have your. Sure, Mac has his.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been trying to recreate the magic of Space Battleship Yamato for the last 30 years. So,
oh yeah, no, like I know that feeling of like trying to recreate some kind of magic like that, and that's kind of why that's what I'm doing with Skylar. Like I'm trying to recreate the magic of the shows you got like in the early 2000s of cartoons, like say like Jake Long, American Dragon, or Lilo and Stitch, like those kind of cartoons, you know the feel of and everything like that, and like it's
adventures.
And you know he has shown me some stuff that he's been doing, and I won't go into detail, obviously, but I will say, in my opinion, he's succeeding very well.
And I'm very happy about that, especially like with these characters I'm making. Which do you mind if I go into these characters a little bit? Just kind of give a little brief.
Sure.
Okay, so Skylar's bandmates. Skylar's band is consisted of five characters. Skylar obviously herself is the lead with her guitar. On bass, we have Laura Carter. Bass. I'm thinking of fish, but Laura Carter, who's on bass, who's essentially like the cool girl of the group. A little fun fact about her actually is that her inspiration for design is heavily inspired by several Mae Whitman characters whose voice like in Avatar, Katara, Owl House Amity, stuff like that. The inspirations following is the pins in her hair are representing Amity and Katara because it's the slimy purple and water. Her overall outfit is actually inspired by the 2012 reboot of Ninja Turtles, where she voiced April O'Neil on that. And her color palette is actually somewhat inspired by Cinder from I think it was, I don't remember which Spyro game, but I know she voiced Cinder in one of them. So
the Legends trilogy.
Yeah, well, she didn't voice in all of them. I know she voiced in at least one of them, but still, that Cinder was an inspiration for like the color palette, especially. So, and I think accidentally, when I kept thinking these characters, I actually said I think I made her look somewhat like Mae Whitman herself, but I think that's debatable. I don't know if I know she has gone through different looks over time, but I could say like she definitely looks like Mae Whitman in one point in time. But moving on from Laura, we have Mae Zimmer, who's the youngest of the group, who's I'm trying to remember her role. Why am I blanking on this now? Oh yeah, Keytar. Yeah, she plays guitar. Yeah, so she's the youngest of the group, but even with her youth, she's essentially a big player in the group just because they value her for her skills. Her mom basically got her into playing piano, but she didn't like that, so she moved to playing guitar, which is something more in line with being in a rock band, and that's why she wants to be in the band with her friends. And the thing is, her friends don't see her for her age; they just see her as being their friend. So even if she's younger than them, she's a crucial member to their band. So, and then Kelly, who's Skylar's basically main best friend, she can sing, but she can't play an instrument. and she also knows how to write and all. She basically writes a song. She's the band manager of the band, essentially. So the band wouldn't be anything without her. So yeah, she will have moments where she could sing on stage, but just not like doing it like all the time.
This guy hasn't watched School of Rock yet. I feel like you really need to watch School of Rock. It is.
I should. You're right. I should.
It really does go into detail about how there are multiple facets to making a great rock show. Not just the drummers, but the lighting and effects people, the graphic designers, all of that. It appreciates what it's portraying.
Yeah, like I should watch that mainly just because I do like Jack Black a lot. So
Yeah, I was about to say next we get a Jack Black character added to the show.
Actually, that is something I actually do hope to go for at some point for a one-time villain, because I do have a villain of the week set up for my series, but I do hope I could get Jet Black for an episode to voice like this rock and roll villain and everything like that, and then it just becomes like this big big antagonist of the episode for Skylar, because like his powers are like greater than hers essentially. But still, if I got Jack Black, that would be freaking hilarious. But
the thing is that I think I told you this once, but I hear he is very picky about crossing over his
I do remember that
career with certain things. So it's like it would be a miracle if he could, but I think if he can tell there's genuine love put into the rock side of the series, he might be like, "Oh, this could be fun."
Well, I mean, here's the hoping, but even though you can't see him just yet, because I still have to get his design made, there is one more member, and he's the only male one of the group. His name is Freddie Venus, which, if you could take a second to think about the name Freddie Venus.
Yeah,
Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Actually, when I hear the name Freddie, I only think of the kid from School of Rock who sadly passed away from a car accident.
Oh, that's sad.
He was the drummer kid, and he was really entertaining.
Okay, now you just made this very coincidental. I didn't know that because Freddie in my series is a drummer, so.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Oh boy.
You could have told me that
Wah-wah
sooner.
pedal goes wah-wah.
Well, you could have told me that sooner, Noah. But yeah, now Freddie, he's essentially the airhead of the group. Like he's kind of like that, like where he'll say the most obvious dumb question of all time, and then Laura will be kind of just being like, "Oh my god, like freaking idiot," and just, and that's the whole dynamic with him. It's like even though that he can be like that, they still love him. They like him having in the band, and sometimes they can get a good laugh out of them too. So. But what's funny is that this one I actually don't have much doubts on getting the casting. I'm actually hoping to cast the indie VA legend Michael Kovac, and I think he'd be probably up for the role just because I do imagine his voice sounding a lot like Enz from Murder Drones specifically. So, but yeah, no, these characters have definitely, like, I really took a lot of inspiration for wanting to make just like a firstly a diverse cast essentially of colors, because you can probably tell that everyone has their own kind of color, but also giving that feel of like the 2000s vibe by giving certain kind of clothing, making sure they have like certain details on them. For example, like Skylar's outfit is well, not her outfit, her overall design is a star essentially, because if you notice that her freckles, they're in the shape of a star pattern. Her eyes have the star-shaped pupils. She's got the star on her t-shirt. And hold on one second.
Huh?
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. But I'm trying to think right now. Yeah, no, Star is basically like her overall aesthetic of the series, just because like I want her to be a rock star essentially, and that's like her, and that's like what like a really nifty design that I thought was when making this character. And ironically, when other characters were being made, the artist Tina Ball, who has made all these sheets so far. She's did this really cool detail where in each character's what is it their eye shine, they have different shapes in them. So Skylar's is a star, Kelly's is two circles, Laura is a diamond, and May has a clover. So that's not going to be with every single character, just because I would have to think of ships for every single one. But for the main band, they will have like their own kind of shapes to expect for it, and just kind of give them their own diversity as well. So
reminds me of the webcomic Between Failures. The creator of that series, Jackie Wallenhouse, decided that each of the characters' ears would feature a number that has some special significance to him.
I don't know that series, but that is actually really cool.
Great minds think alike.
And then the last thing I could really probably mention about this is the guitar here. So let me explain a little bit about this guitar. So this guitar has been made thousands of years ago by someone ancient, essentially. But the concept of this is that when the user passes, it moves on to another one who is worthy of being a hero, essentially. And it has several abilities, such as be able to form blades. It can fire laser beams. It has a grapple ability, and the main importance to it is that it can change its form throughout the years. So, say if it was like 2,000 years ago, it could have been a lute or a violin or something like that. And now, like in modern times, it's a electric guitar. So it essentially just evolves with the times to keep up with finding a new user that will essentially match up with it. And the thing that really powers it is the gemstone in the center of it, which is a star-shaped gemstone. Which I don't. I'm just gonna say this. It's actually not a gemstone made on Earth. I just want to point that out, but I'm not gonna go into details of what created it. But I will say that it is not made from anyone on Earth. But yeah, but with its with that power though from the stone, it's given it also the ability to be sentient. So it's gonna. I originally wasn't gonna have it being like kind of like a sentient being, but I thought it would have been funny if it just kind of occasionally kind of popped out in its claw form. Which I did inspire the claw form off of Doc Ock's arm from Spider-Man, but it kind of will give those like emotional gestures of like popping out the claw. It can either look mad, it can look kind of sad, it can look like it's trying to like give a thumbs up, and occasionally give like a high five or fist bump to Skylar and all that, and it'll even like communicate with clicking by clicking its claws together to give a signal of some kind. So even though it's a prop for the series, it is its own character in a sense.
So it's one of those, it's sentient, just nonverbal.
Exactly.
Like the One Ring, only not evil.
Like the magic carpet from Aladdin.
Yeah, that's probably the best way I could describe it.
Yeah, that's the perfect example.
But yeah, I think that's really all I can say about the series so far. Just apart from like the concept of being Monster of the Week, Skylar having to, balance her life and all that, and I guess I could say this one last thing though. There is a major villain behind everything that will be featured in the first episode, but essentially they work from the shadows. They do not interact with Skylar until a major plot point, essentially.
Okay,
like
so
Dr. Claw.
Yeah,
I suppose that's a good segue into Super Spy Academy, because I don't think we've heard anything on this series.
Secret Spy Academy, but you know.
Sorry.
Look, when I got my casting director for this show for the first time, she made a spreadsheet for us for the cast and the characters, and ideas for the cast. She wrote in the title, "Totally Spies."
I remember him sending me that. I was like, oh my god.
So
You're not wrong, though I would not like to be sued. Thanks.
Yes. It's like, I guess it makes sense. I've heard people say that our style feels like Kim Possible meets Totally Spies.
That'd be a crossover for the lifetime, but
That would be like my dream to cross over with Kim Possible or Totally Spies for this show. But
One of those
come on.
had an inexplicable comeback.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
yeah, that's true.
I'm still waiting for it to premiere in the US, but
I mean,
You know.
it's supposed to be hitting in a couple months, actually.
I think it's supposed to be
January.
next month.
So the spies? No, it's January. January. Saw the date. It's January. I think it's January 4th.
I think
In
it
the
got
morning?
pushed back to February.
Oh, I saw that the date was January 4th. So
Anyway,
anyway,
Well, I guess I'll kind of start where Anthony started with his characters. So the first character I'm just kind of going by who I'm looking at right now is Jessica Daniel. She prefers to go by Jess, and so that's what her friends call her, just Jess. But she's voiced by Jackie Lastra as of now. She's basically the leader, quotes, of the group. Like if there was a leader, she's it. She's the one who usually plans. She's the one who kind of keeps the group together. And because of this, she kind of gets a big head sometimes, but that's that's one of her flaws. She's also very smart. She's kind of a prodigy in the world of student-teacher stuff. She's able to learn stuff really quickly. And as such, she is pretty much the top of her class. Her parents are very intelligent. They're basically employees at this really big, prestigious research facility. And my hope with all of these characters going forward is actually to cast Christy Carlson Romano and like the Totally Spies voice actors as their parents in certain places. I think that would be really cool to do. But
Which ones? There have been a few.
yeah, it's something I can only hope to do, and it is something I mentioned to the director. So just hoping. Then Amy Baker is the next one. She's the one with the ponytail and the brown hair. This is a really interesting scenario where she's basically kind of like me. She loves the theatrical arts. She loves drama. I guess what would be called classic chivalry. She loves living in a fantasy basically. And Kari Wahlgren voices that to perfection. And that does lead me into why I ended up casting Kari. Amy was the first character I got designed because I really liked her. I liked the idea of her design. I liked her character a lot. That's usually how I do with my designs. Whichever main character I like the most first will be made first. But I had received the final design, and I was actually listening to a DC Superhero Girls short compilation. And I heard a line from Kari Wahlgren that made me say, okay, I need to get Kari Walgren for this character. This is just perfect.
And I immediately was hooked on it just because, like I mentioned, Kari Walgren's my favorite voice actress. So like all that happened, then I was just support of everything beyond from that point.
I will say there is someone who has helped me with some of these designs. Like Anthony is one of them. Like I'll run them by a few people and say, what do you think of this design? Do you like it or do you not like it? If I'm ever stuck with something, there is someone I will ask, but I don't know if she'd want to be mentioned here. So I'm going to keep that a little more confidential right now. But the next character design is Nora. I have a voice actress for her, but I'm not allowed to say who it is yet. I will say it's really exciting to be working with this particular voice actress, but Nora is, I'm sure you can guess by her aesthetic, she's the tomboy of the group, the Yang from Ruby of the group. She's really sporty. She loves being athletic. She loves working out. She is not a pun maker like Yang, though. So, I guess I'll save people's sanity on that. Even though I love puns, I love my puns. Even though I'm horrible at making them. She's one of the key aspects is that she is bisexual. I'm not sure if she has that energy. I've asked a few people. Some have said yes, some have said not really. But just it was something that came after the character design. But to me, I looked at her. I was like, she feels like a bisexual character to me. I'm gonna make her bisexual.
Oh, wow.
And the next and final character is Ixia Cameron Snow. This character is she's basically like the pacifist of the group. She loves nature. I would say she is the most, I guess, stereotypical girly girl of the group. Not that she likes fashion or anything, but she's pacifist, not very physically strong. I guess the most dated character, if you want to call it that. But that is entirely by her choice. She absolutely could, if she wanted to, work out. But she's also very shy, reserved. And she's voiced by Ryan Bartley, who kind of blew my mind with her audition, because what happened was I really wanted Felicia Day to voice this character. I was really stuck finding a voice actress for her for a while. It was I tried to get in touch with her agent. I could not get a reply from her agent. So I was like, okay, who else could I look for? And there were like only two other people I could think of. It was Liliana Mumi, and even then that was kind of like, I don't know if she'd be right. I don't know if it sounds like it might be in her wheelhouse, but I don't know. So I reached out to her agent at her audition. I got an audition for her, but it just wasn't clicking for me. As talented as she is, like that's the thing about holding auditions. You usually do get talent. And then I asked Hynden Walsh's agent if she could do some line reads for me, and Hynden just I'm not interested. This doesn't look like a project I'm interested in. So at that point, I was stuck. So I asked Hynden's agent, do you have anyone in your roster who you would recommend? And Ryan Bartley came up. I knew her as Sage from Sonic and ReZero. So I was like, I don't know if she's going to be right. And then she just floored me. I was like, that's perfect. That is perfect. That is... And I will say about the characters, they do have spy outfits, but they're not ready yet. I'm trying to get them designed right now. But I think that I'm trying to think about if there's anything else. The entirety of season 1 has pretty much been planned at this point. I have all the episodes written, like the plots of the episodes, not the actual screenplays or teleplays. I have more characters, but I wanted to go over the main characters only for this, so I don't take up too much time. But I will say I'm really excited with how everything's come so far.
As someone who's like not crazy for like the spy genre, getting to kind of see this evolve a lot more, and also getting to be helping out with like the voice recording sessions, which I undermine myself because I don't like to take too much credit, but Noah likes to insist that I helped out a lot with Kari's session.
You did.
I appreciate it.
You had some good ideas.
But it's nice to see. I'm actually really invested for the series, despite the genre. So, that's a big factor. If it's a series, I'm not interested in genre, but I like to watch.
Yeah, it's kind of the same for me with Skylar Rocks. It's really interesting to see it kind of evolve into this big thing. And it's like there was a point where I was like, I need to rein myself in because I'm very easily inspired by other shows. And there was a point where Skylar Rocks did make me say, I want to do a superhero cartoon so badly. But I was like, no, I'm already working on like 3 different projects. I need to rein myself in because animation's expensive.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Anyway, so as enlightening as all this has been, we are running low on time here, or rather, it's past 1:00 on the East Coast. So we're about ready to wrap this up, and I suppose I'll do that by asking this particular question: where are you aiming to premiere all your series?
Okay, so Danakara and Skylar Rocks, I can definitely confirm, are going to go on YouTube right away. Though I think recently Noah just got contacted by someone about Danakara, but I don't know how reliable that is. I don't know if he ever got back to him or not. So, but I would say as 99% sure Danakara will be going on YouTube, and 100% sure Skylar will be going on YouTube as well. So,
I was kind of contacted by someone. I'm not going to treat it as though I'm under an NDA because you can never be too careful. But Secret Spy Academy will also be going on YouTube. Along with all my other projects. You can find them at Popejoy Entertainment.
All right. All right. So, any other questions that wish to be asked at this particular moment?
We do actually have a couple things from the chat.
Okay.
Wild 108 mentioned a little bit ago. I didn't know you were a Amphamu fan, Noah?
Aphmau.
Aphmau, thank you.
Aphmau. So there's an Aphmau guy in the crowd. Awesome. Hi. I'm not good with names. I'm not good with regular names, so a username is not gonna be something I remember. But hi, it's nice to see there's an Aphmau fan in the crowd. Not really a fan of her new content, but I can tell she has fun doing her new content, so it's like really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she was a huge inspiration to me as a writer. I think she entered my life at just the right point for me to say I want to become a writer.
And then Nova000 mentioned, I like to say all of this progress and progression is phenomenal.
I appreciate that, Nova. Love you, man.
Yeah, I think that's everything I saw in chat.
Yeah, I've been interacting with the chat silently in the background.
See, I make myself useful every now and then.
I don't even have a stream up, so
I do.
Yeah.
It's always a good
I was
idea
really
because we
gonna
always
do
get surprise
all three.
visitors.
Oh yeah.
Always we get surprise visitors all the time.
Yeah.
Fans and followers.
Hmm.
That's cool. If I could just add one more thing to kind of end off this a little bit. I just want to say, like, indie animation is, I say this is a big step for us, and as a like a whole big thing as a community, and I'm proud to be a part of it, and especially with like adding in stuff that's essentially being woke with the show as well, because studios will hide stuff like LGBT community and stuff like that. Specifically Disney.
Disney is a big culprit of that for sure.
But it makes me happy that we're allowed to kind of represent the characters how we want to represent them. Like, for example, most of our Danakara characters are in some form of LGBT community. Skylar is bisexual, and then Nora is bisexual as well. So,
A subject recently near and dear to my heart, as I am ripping new assholes into the Arcane fandom.
Oh boy!
actually, just finished season 1 of that show.
I haven't started it yet.
Particularly the baby lesbian gatekeepers.
Oh yeah.
So fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting about like really popular shows you haven't watched. I will say that the story I remember from, I think all like voice recording sessions have stories to them. The one I remember from the Kari Walgren session is there is a sequence where I made a joke where I was able to make a Breaking Bad joke, basically. And I joked about how Amy, Kari's character, had never seen Breaking Bad despite being such a big cinephile. And then Kari, without missing a beat, says, I haven't actually seen it myself.
Seen it myself. Yeah. I remember that. Hey, I forgive her because she's my favorite voice actress.
Obviously, it's yeah, but no, I imagine she's busy. So it's like I'm not gonna say anything. It's a show you and anyone needs to experience.
Indeed.
But anyway.
All right. So my final summation is always, do you have anything coming up that you wish to promote? Appearances, events related to the shows, something that people need to look forward to?
I really want to rent out a little booth at a convention. Like, I'm not saying that's happening. I want to rent one out as a little creator booth to advertise our stuff at conventions. But I want to get a little more done before we do that.
Right. Some kind of demo.
Yeah, like I am going to SAC Anime in January just because Kari is going, and I want to get Tiana Camacho to go too because she's also in the cast. Basically, a few people I've worked with on this show are going, and I really want to go see them. Meet them in person and all. But
there's a small chance I might go too, but I'm not holding much hope just because budgets right now are a little tight right now. So holidays.
Yes.
But yeah, I would say like for Skylar Rocks though, like the not really much I can promote other than just my my small merch line that I have a Ko-fi set for right now to get enamel pins and keychains made, just because there's stuff I want to start selling, get people to want to get things, invest for the series, and ironically, we do have something for Danakara too, which I'll just share right here right now. This little prototype of a keychain for Luna here, which we plan to get made of other characters too. So. But we hopefully maybe in like another few months or so we get more people invested and more to start buying these off our Ko-fi site and everything.
All right. Oh yeah, there you go. I think what we're going to need to do is have you guys back on the show when you're in the next phase of production, so we can get kind of like a progress update on things.
Yeah,
And,
I'd be totally up for that.
seeing how things are going.
I've had a lot of fun, so like, yeah, I'm always down for more of this.
Yeah, so
I
something
mean, of course
blast.
I'm down. Of course we're down for it. It's promoting
Yeah.
our product.
All right, Adam, we'll need to add that to the Google Doc.
Yeah, just let us just DM us of time and stuff like that, and we can totally work something out. But
All right. All right.
It's been super fun.
Well,
Yes.
well, that's
yeah,
great.
it's been fun.
All right, so that was Anthony and Noah Popejoy, and they have a lot of things going on. So be sure to keep your eyes glued to YouTube for the big debut, and we will have them back on the program when we are in the next phase of development and financing. Coming up next is the entertainment segment. Kevin, why don't you lead us off this time?
Me? I don't know what to start with. Adam's the one who usually starts the segment.
Adam.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's like, wait a minute,
Oh,
wait, what, me?
I'm like, yeah, don't spring things on people.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
wanted to.
I did it for a while, but
I know exactly what we need to address. Probably the biggest story that broke during the break is Sony, and they are looking to acquire. Not, there. Some people call them an industry giant, but it depends on which industry.
They are a
got
relatively large force in the industry, at least.
Well, it depends on the industry because they have a larger hand in certain other industries, like the video game industry. No, I don't care how popular From Software is. It's like it's not even like near monopoly concerns or anything like that. I'm like, if we're talking about anime, specifically like light novels, we might have more of a case there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the point is, Katakawa is a big player in a lot of fields, though.
Yes.
A lot of it
video
is
games,
anime cinema.
yeah, video games, anime, manga, light novels, and things connected therein. They're not quite the Zaibatsu some other companies are, but they got a lot of hands and a lot of pies. To the point where you probably have to look them up on Wikipedia to just go through everything that they own.
And just a reminder, Sony also currently owns what is left of Funimation and Crunchyroll. So that would make them a very large player in the anime space.
It depends on where you're talking about, though, because that's more. Here's the thing: like, it's not the concern that people think of, because Crunchyroll is an animation distribution organization, international, versus Katakawa, where they're a big time player in Japan, not so much in the international scene.
Yeah, typically the Katakawa stuff usually went through either Funimation or now Crunchyroll.
Right. Once again, if we're talking about the anime stuff, they're a much bigger player in manga and light novel. For example, they're the company that owns Bookwalker.
Yep.
And if you don't know what Bookwalker is, well, clearly you haven't been watching a lot of YouTube.
Yeah. It's like, go watch More Mother's Basement.
Yep. Regular sponsor there. But the point is, that's the light novel reader. Not really a manga reader, if I'm remembering correctly.
They have some manga, but most of that is done through other places, yes.
But once again, that lines up where Katakawa is specifically strong. Like, as a manga player, they're not especially big.
I think most of their manga, specifically like on Bookwalker, it's the mangas of their light novels, like the manga adaptations.
Yes. But it's also why Katakawa is the one of the biggest players in the isekai field. Because so many isekais are actually from light novels.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, there was one article out there that noted that if Katakawa gets acquired by Sony, Sony will own the entire isekai pipeline.
Yeah.
Like
it's a funny joke, but at the same time, not fully, but I get where you're coming from.
Right. But as far as actual regulatory concerns in terms of Katakawa and Sony, like there aren't any.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, Katakawa as a business, they're not that big. They seem big in certain fields, certainly, and maybe those would have to be addressed, primarily in Japan. But in terms of market value, Katakawa is only $3 billion. Now, granted, any actual acquisition would be, that above. Like, I think I've seen 4.5 billion quoted, among other things. And apparently, there's an issue where Katakawa wants Sony to acquire all of it or none of it. Because Sony doesn't want all of Katakawa. Because, once again, they have a lot of fingers and a lot of pies. Sony doesn't want some of those pies. They want, they want the video game and anime sectors.
Mm-hmm.
Because, duh.
Yeah.
It's literally what they're already doing.
Like, maybe not. Yeah. And apparently Katakawa has been targeted by other players. Specifically, Kakao, who is the Korean player in this. You probably haven't heard. They're probably the most mysterious name on this list until they're the owners of SM Entertainment, which is one of the big K-pop players.
Yeah.
And that's just one. The Chinese player, of course, Tencent, who I believe had some, I think Kakao and Tencent had investment in Katakawa at various points. Not sure if that's still the case, but, and there's even an American player. Microsoft has appeared. Which would be a very awkward purchase, if I'm being honest.
It would.
But Japan loves Microsoft. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
it's probably another one they just want
Microsoft?
They just want the video gaming stuff.
Yeah, Microsoft probably. Microsoft is here because they want From Software. Let's be honest here.
They would spin off everything else just for From Software.
Yeah, it's like out of everything here, it's From Software. What else? Because you think Microsoft is going to give a shit about any of the anime stuff? Any of the
hell no
stuff? Like, no,
hell no.
Like, do you think like Microsoft really wants to own Nico Daruga?
No.
Bro, you had that lined up for a week, didn't you?
No, I just invented that.
Yeah.
Like, do not underestimate how quick my wit can be sometimes.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Like, my point is, Katakawa has a lot of things to it.
Yes.
And, and I'm pretty sure, I wouldn't be surprised if both Tencent and Kakao want certain things, but don't want other things. Like, in Kakao's case, it's, I'm not exactly sure what the play is here because
it's probably want the anime and visual novel stuff.
Possibly.
If they're K-pop oriented.
it's just, Katagawa isn't much of a player in the music world as far as I
Yeah.
understand it. And
Well, they do have a games. They do have a games division, though. Apparently,
Yeah.
that would probably be it there. 10 cent,
yeah.
Tencent's probably the closest to a Chinese version of a Zaibatsu we'll see.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like Tencent could probably use everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Now, why they're probably wanting Sony to come in because that's probably why they want Sony to come in because please get us so that Tencent doesn't come in and take us instead.
We don't want to be abducted by the Chinese. I mean, wait, what?
Well, I mean.
Anyway.
Anyway.
So as far as where the actual merger negotiations are, it's a bit murky. The only thing we know for certain is that Katagawa and Sony have talked formally, and I'm not even sure if they've reached the letter of intent stage.
Yeah, from what I understand, it was when the story broke. It could happen within weeks. So.
Right, but here's the thing: there's no we have no actual timeline on discussions. Just that they're on.
Exactly.
So
it's like they're talking, and that the talking could come to something in weeks. That's what the reporting was.
Yeah,
so
formal inquiry at best currently.
But it's also there's it's an informal inquiry. Now I don't know how it works in Japan, but usually when there's formal merger talks, there's an actual window. Like you have to have it. You actually have to have this done by a certain date, or a certain thing will happen. Like with Microsoft and Activision Blizzard, they had to close by a certain point in time, or else Microsoft would have to pay Activision Blizzard $5 billion.
Also, see Musk buying Twitter.
Right.
And not necessarily like that, but yeah, there's basically there's
like
a window breakup.
With Japanese mergers, it could be a different set of rules.
Yeah. Because especially if it's Sony and Katagawa, Japanese and Japanese, there's probably a different rule set to deal with than an American company buying Katagawa, or Chinese or Korean.
Yeah. And I'm like, once again, I'm not sure how many regulatory bodies will actually have to look at this, because it is it's not just that it's two Japanese companies merging. Whenever that happens, if they're big enough, every regulatory body that they operate in has to look. If they don't like something, they can set but that's usually restricted to their area. Like going back to the Disney Fox merger, a lot of divestments happened in the sports arena, especially in Latin America, because ESPN and Fox Sports merging would have just created so many monopolies in that area. Up to even the United States said Disney had to divest from Fox Sports before we allow this merger to happen. But honestly, I don't see any regulatory issues here. Even though I am rather unfamiliar with the nuances of Japanese regulatory examination. It's just I don't see anything here that would trigger actual monopoly concerns, and not what the internet thinks is a monopoly. I've long said.
And he cut out.
There we go.
What?
Just going
merging to other big thing. No. How about now?
You're back now.
Yeah, you're better now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right.
I wasn't sure you were talking about because I zoned out a little bit, but I heard everybody saying about people not being here.
Yeah, I think we should wrap it up here.
Yeah. I wanted to get to this and specifically this because
Yeah, it was
it's
the big
something that.
story.
Yeah.
Well, and there is one potential other upside of this merger, and that may be that it'll be less than 9 years between seasons of Konosuba.
Let's not look. It hasn't been that long. In fact, Konosuba's latest season did happen.
Yeah,
like
but
last year.
but the previous season ended in like 2016.
I'm like, well, there was a movie in between things too.
Ooh, there's
Which-
19. There's 19. There's 19 volumes. There's 19 volumes of the manga and light novel. For Christ's sake, we're getting the red ass here. I'm telling you. Anyway,
that's
That'll
probably
be
a good
fine.
point to break off for the week.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about what's happening next week.
All right.
December 11th, Paladin Dragoon. Adam, tell us about that.
All right. So he's currently developing a couple of IPs, as he puts it. Fantasy Swords and Swords called Savage Adventure Tales, and a sci-fi / miniature called Exo Cav, kind of aiming to the Warhammer 40K crowd here. And apparently Sword and Sorcery has been published in an actual magazine called Anvil. So there should be, more on that next week. So,
All right. Well, again, thanks. Big thank you to our guests, Anthony and Noah Popejoy. It was a delight having you guys on the show, and I'm always appreciative of the enthusiasm of our guests, and we hope to have them back when their next big development hits. And I'm looking forward to next week. Should be fairly interesting. So until then, I am your host, Mac Paladin, on behalf of the crew at Moonhawk Studios presents. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there, kids. Don't forget to like and subscribe.